Brothers once, then the streets divided them. Friendship died, war began.
Who shot y'all? Separate the wheat from the oxen. Leap hard to creep them burning.
Who shot you? Huh? That's really how you came at me after everything? You know what I'm saying? After everything I did, everything we were, everything we built together, that's how you chose to respond with that record, with that timing, with that disrespect? Nah, see, I can't even process that level of betrayal. Let me take you back, take you to where this really started hurting. Not the bullets, I survived those. Not the robbery, material things come and go. The real wound, the silence that followed. The absence when I needed presence. The void where brotherhood should have been. November 94, I'm laying in a hospital bed, tubes everywhere, machines beeping, pain so intense I can't think straight, 5 bullets through my body, and I'm waiting for that phone call, waiting for that visit, waiting for my brother to show up. You know who came? Nobody. The phone sat there silent, like it was mocking me. The door stayed closed, like nobody knew where I was. The room stayed empty except for my mama and the people who were really there. The ones who didn't need an invitation, the ones who didn't calculate the risk, the ones who just showed up. And I kept thinking, maybe he's busy, maybe he don't know yet, maybe the word ain't reached him, maybe somebody keeping information from him. I'm making excuses in my head for somebody who should have been the first person through that door, the first voice on that phone, the first face I see when I open my eyes. Days go by, still nothing, not a call, not a message, not even through somebody else, not even to tell them I'm thinking about them. Just silence, cold silence, calculated silence, the kind of silence that speaks louder than any words ever could. And that's when I started to understand, really understand what was happening, what had been happening, what I'd been too blind to see because I was too busy being a real friend to notice I was the only one playing that role.
For me, I gotta run more slow.
Silence is a language. Silence speaks volumes. Silence tells you everything you need to know when you're finally ready to hear it. When you finally stop making excuses and start accepting reality. That silence told me our brotherhood was over before I wanted to accept it. It revealed truths I'd been ignoring for months. It exposed a reality I'd been blind to because I didn't want to see it. Because seeing it would mean admitting I'd been wrong about someone I love. See, when somebody you love, somebody you consider family, when they go silent at your lowest moment, that ain't confusion, that ain't miscommunication, that ain't them being busy or scared or unsure. That's a choice, a conscious, deliberate choice to distance themselves from your struggle, to separate themselves from your pain, to protect their position while you're bleeding. And I tried to understand it. Really, I did. Tried to give benefit of the doubt. Tried to see it from their perspective. Maybe he's scared. Maybe he thinks it's too hot. Maybe he's protecting himself. Maybe he's getting bad advice. Maybe he's being told to stay away. But you know what? Real brothers don't calculate. Real loyalty don't hesitate. Real love don't need perfect conditions to show up. Real family don't wait for permission or approval or the right moment. They just come, they just show up, they just be there. I gave you everything, man, everything. When you was nobody, I saw somebody. When the industry wasn't checking for you, I was vouching for you. When you were struggling to get heard, I opened doors. When you needed a voice to amplify yours, I gave you mine. When you needed credibility, I shared mine. That's what brothers do. That's what I thought we were. That's what I believed we had. But I guess I was wrong. Misread the situation, gave brother status to somebody who was really just around, just benefiting, just using proximity for opportunity, just taking what was offered without ever really investing back. That hurts different, you know what I'm saying? Cuts deeper than any blade, wounds you in places that don't heal easy. When you realize the person you go to war for wouldn't even make a phone call for you. When you understand that the loyalty you gave freely was never actually reciprocated. When you see that what you thought was mutual was really just one-sided the whole time, then that record dropped
day.
Who shot ya?
It says
The timing of it, the audacity of it, whether it was about me or not, and we both know it was. The fact you let it drop right then, you ain't distanced yourself from it, you ain't say nothing to clarify, you ain't make no effort to let it be known that whatever that record was about, it wasn't mocking my situation. That told me everything I needed to know. That answered every question I'd been asking. That confirmed every suspicion I'd been having. You chose your side, made your allegiance clear. And it wasn't with your brother, it was with your business, your label, your career, your comfort, your safety, your advancement. I get it now. See it clearly now. Money talks louder than loyalty in this game. Success matters more than brotherhood. Career advancement outweighs personal relationships. Industry politics trumps real friendship. And that's the reality I had to accept, the truth I had to swallow, the lesson I had to learn the hardest way possible. But see, here's what that moment taught me. Here's what that betrayal revealed. Here's what that experience educated me on. Trust is the most dangerous thing you can give another human being, because when it breaks, it don't just crack, it shatters into a million pieces. And those pieces, they cut everyone around them. They damage everything they touch. They create wounds that take years to heal. I trusted you completely, blindly, without reservation or hesitation. The way you only trust family, the way you only trust someone you believe would die for you the same way you died for them. That trust became my vulnerability. My openness became my weakness. My love became my liability. And you know what's crazy? What really gets me when I look back? The signs were always there from the beginning. I just ain't want to see them, chose not to see them. Ignored every red flag because I was committed to the version of our friendship I wanted to exist, not the reality of what actually was. There were moments, little moments, where something felt off, where something didn't sit right, where I questioned if we were really on the same page, but I pushed those feelings down, dismissed those doubts, told myself I was being paranoid or insecure or overthinking. That's what love does. That's what trust does. It blinds you to reality, makes you overlook what's obvious to everyone else.
Strange.
Keeps you invested in an illusion long after the truth is trying to reveal itself. That's the real lesson about betrayal nobody tells you. It rarely comes from people you distrust. It don't come from enemies you're watching. It comes from people you trust completely. From the inner circle, from those you never suspect because you removed them from the list of possibilities, because you decided they were safe, because you gave them access to parts of you that were supposed to be protected. Betrayal don't announce itself. It don't send a warning. It builds quietly, develops in spaces you ain't watching because you too busy trusting. Grows in areas you ain't protecting because you never thought you needed protection from them, from the people closest to you, from the ones you call family. I should have watched closer, questioned more, protected my position better, maintained some boundaries even with people I loved. But I didn't because I believed in something that wasn't real. Invested in a relationship that was one-sided, gave my all to somebody who was giving me their convenient, their leftover energy, their conditional loyalty. That silence in the hospital, that wasn't the betrayal. That was just a revelation of a betrayal that already existed, that had been building, that had been there all along. I was just too blind to see it until circumstances forced it into visibility, until there was no more hiding it, until the mask fell off and reality stood naked in front of me. And honestly, I'm grateful it happened, for real. I'm grateful for that pain, for that revelation, for that brutal honesty that circumstances forced into the light. Because that pain, that hurt, that betrayal, it woke me up, opened my eyes, showed me the game for what it really is. Not what I hoped it was, not what I wanted it to be, not what I told myself it could be, but what it actually is, what it's always been. This industry ain't about brotherhood. Never was, never will be. This business ain't about loyalty. That's a fairy tale they sell to keep you vulnerable. This game ain't about real relationships. It's about utility, about what you can do for somebody, about value extraction, about strategic alliances that last only as long as they're mutually beneficial. The moment the benefit stops, so does the alliance. Once I understood that, truly understood that, accepted that, internalized that, everything changed. My whole approach to relationships, my trust level with everyone, my circle of who gets close. I stopped giving brother status freely, Stop handing out family titles like participation trophies. Stopped assuming loyalty based on history or shared experiences. Stopped investing emotionally in people who were only with me situationally, who were only there when it benefited them, who were only present when it was comfortable or profitable. That's the gift betrayal gives you if you receive it right. If you don't, just wallow in the pain. If you extract the lesson. CL80. Pure, unfiltered clarity about who's real and who's performing. About who's there for you versus who's there for what you provide. About who loves you versus who loves what you represent. What you can do for them. What access you can grant them. Every betrayal is a teacher if you're willing to be a student. Every backstab is a lesson if you're ready to learn instead of just bleed. Every disloyalty is information if you're prepared to receive it instead of just reject it. What I learned from you, from us, from how it ended, from that whole painful experience, trust carefully. Don't give it away like it's nothing. Love wisely. Not everyone deserves it. Give loyalty slowly. Make them earn it over time through consistent action. Watch actions, not words. People lie, but patterns don't. Believe patterns, not promises. Promises are cheap, patterns are proof. And most importantly, understand that some people are in your life for a season, not forever. Their purpose was to teach you something, usually about discernment, about protection, about wisdom. And once that lesson is learned, once that purpose is fulfilled, they exit, sometimes peacefully. Sometimes explosively, sometimes with explanation, sometimes with just silence, but they exit regardless because their role in your story is complete. You exited explosively, publicly, dramatically, and honestly, that was probably necessary because a quiet exit might have left room for doubt. A peaceful separation might have kept me wondering what if, might have kept that door cracked open. But the way it ended, the harshness of it, the publicness of it, the finality of it, that forced me to let go completely, made reconciliation impossible, burned the bridge so thoroughly, so completely, there was no going back, no possibility of rebuilding, no chance of reunion. And maybe that's what I needed, that definitive END to stop holding on to something that was already dead, that dramatic break to fully commit to moving forward instead of looking backward. That level of pain to develop the level of strength I'd need for what was coming, for the battles ahead, for the wars I didn't even know were approaching. See, betrayal don't just wound you. It don't just hurt you in the moment. If you let it, if you use it right, if you receive the lesson it's trying to teach, it prepares you for the future, for bigger battles, for harder moments. It toughens skin that was too soft, too exposed, too vulnerable. It builds walls where boundaries were too weak, too porous, too easily crossed. It creates discernment where trust was too easy, too quick, too freely given. I'm a different person after you. After that experience, after that lesson, some might say that's sad. Some might say I lost something beautiful, that openness, that willingness to believe in people, that ready trust, that easy vulnerability. But I say I gained something essential, something necessary for survival in this game. Wisdom, real wisdom, street wisdom, survival wisdom, the kind that keeps you alive, the kind that keeps you protected, the kind that keeps you from making the same mistake twice, the kind that saves your life in a game designed to destroy the naive, the trusting, the open, the real ones who believe everyone else is real too. You taught me that, so in a twisted way I should thank you. You gave me an education I couldn't get no other way. No book could teach it, no mentor could explain it. Only experience could deliver it. You showed me realities I needed to see, truths I needed to accept, lessons I needed to learn. You forced growth I wouldn't have chosen but desperately needed. Development I would have avoided but absolutely required. Every betrayal births you again. That's real talk. That's street gospel. That's truth you can take to the bank. When trust dies, something else is born. In that same space, in that same soil, discernment gets born. The ability to see through bullshit. Wisdom gets born. The knowledge of how to move. Strength gets born in the space where trust used to live, where vulnerability used to exist, where openness used to reside. You killed my trust, murdered it, stabbed it to death with your silence and your choices. But you birthed my wisdom. You forced me to develop it. You destroyed my naivety, shattered that innocence I'd been holding on to. but you developed my awareness, my ability to see, my capacity to discern. You ended our friendship, killed it, buried it. But you started my evolution, my transformation, my becoming something stronger than I was. So this ain't really about you anymore. This stopped being about you a long time ago. This is about what you taught me, what that experience developed in me. This is about who I became after you, after us, after that whole chapter closed, about the version of me that emerged from those ashes. And to everyone listening to this, everyone who's been betrayed, backstabbed, left alone when they needed people most, abandoned by those they thought would never leave, I'm talking to you now. Directly, person to person, soul to soul. You been there? You know that feeling? Felt that knife in your back from somebody you loved, from somebody you trusted completely? Experienced that silence from somebody you considered family? From somebody who promised they'd always be there? Watch somebody you trusted choose themselves over you when it mattered most? When the chips were down? When you needed them to prove everything they ever said? I know that pain. I live that pain. I'm speaking from that pain right now. From that wound that still aches sometimes. From that scar that reminds me every day what I learned. And I'm telling you, it don't have to destroy you. It don't have to be the end of your story. It can develop you if you let it. If you use it, if you extract the lesson instead of just carrying the wound. If you transform the pain instead of just holding it. That betrayal you experienced, that person who turned their back on you, that friend who became an enemy, that wasn't the end of your story. That was a chapter, a painful one, no doubt. A necessary one, even if you didn't know it at the time, but just a chapter, just one part of a larger narrative that's still being written. What comes next is up to you, completely up to you. You can stay stuck in the pain, replaying the betrayal in your mind like a movie on repeat, holding on to the hurt like it's a prize. Or you can use that pain as fuel, as motivation, as rocket fuel for your next level. Transform that wound into wisdom, into knowledge, into power. Convert that betrayal into strength, into armor, into protection for your future. Every person who betrayed you did you a favor, even though it don't feel like it right now, even though it hurts like hell, even though you wish it never happened. They showed you who they really are. Not who they pretended to be, not who you wanted them to be, but who they actually are when tested. They removed themselves from your future, made space in your life, created room for better people. They made space for people who are real to enter, who are genuine, who are loyal, who are worthy of your trust. They taught you lessons about trust and discernment and protection you couldn't learn any other way. No book could teach it, no mentor could explain it, only betrayal could deliver it. That's the gift in betrayal, and it is a gift, even though it's wrapped in pain, not the pain itself, though that's real and valid, not the loss itself, though that hurts and matters, but the clarity, the brutal, honest clarity, the education, the knowledge you gain, the evolution it forces, the growth it demands. You don't stay the same after real betrayal. You physically can't. Your DNA changes. Your spirit transforms. You either break completely or you build something stronger. You either crumble into dust or you create a stronger, wiser, more protected version of yourself. You either let it defeat you, consume you, destroy you, or you let it define your next level. Your evolution, your transformation. I chose to build, chose to create, chose to evolve, chose to let it define my strength, not my weakness, my power, not my pain, my wisdom, not my wound. And that's what I'm challenging you to do. What I'm demanding you do if you want to survive. Use your betrayal. Don't waste it. Learn from your backstab. Don't just bleed from it. Grow from your loss. Don't just grieve it. Don't just survive it. Thrive from it. Become more because of it. Let every person who left teach you who to keep, who deserves to stay, who's worthy of your inner circle. Let every betrayal show you what real loyalty looks like, what genuine love acts like, what true friendship demonstrates. Let every disappointment clarify what you actually need versus what you thought you wanted, what you require versus what you settled for. Your circle should get smaller after betrayal, not bigger. Quality over quantity. Your trust should get harder to earn, not easier. Make them prove it. Your standards should get higher, not lower. Demand more. expect more, require more. That's not bitterness, that's wisdom. That's not cold, that's protected. That's not jaded, that's educated. That's not mean, that's necessary. Never forget what they did. Never. Not to hold a grudge, not to stay stuck, but because that memory is your protection, your shield. That scar is your reminder, your teacher. That lesson is your armor, your defense against future betrayal. And never forgive betrayal that ain't even asked for forgiveness. Don't give grace to people who ain't shown remorse, who ain't acknowledged they're wrong, who ain't even admitted they hurt you. Never reconcile with those who ain't acknowledged their role, who ain't taking responsibility, who ain't changed. Forgiveness without accountability is just permission for repeated disrespect. It's just inviting them to do it again. Grace without change is just enabling. It's just teaching them they can get away with it. Reconciliation without transformation is just setting yourself up for round 2, for the sequel, for them to hurt you again. Stay strong, stay protected, stay wise, stay selective. I ain't the same person I was before that silence, before that betrayal, before that lesson. I'm something different now, something they created when they tried to destroy me, something stronger, something wiser, something more protected, something they should have feared creating. And you can be too, you will be too. If you choose growth over grief, development over dwelling, if you choose lesson over loss, wisdom over wound, every betrayal births you again. Remember that, write it down. Remember that when trust dies, something stronger is being born, something more powerful. When friendships end, better connections are making space to arrive. Real ones, genuine ones. When loyalty proves false, real loyalty is being prepared to enter. To fill that void, to occupy that space, you just gotta survive the death to experience the resurrection. Gotta endure the pain to access the power. Gotta feel the loss fully to appreciate what's coming, what's being prepared for you. I'm living proof, walking testimony, breathing evidence that betrayal don't have to be your ending. It don't have to be your destruction. It can be your beginning, your rebirth, your transformation, your evolution into who you were always meant to become. So to my former brother, you know who you are. Lesson received, message understood, wisdom gained, growth achieved. I'm better for knowing you honestly, and I'm stronger for losing you. More powerful, more protected, more aware. And to everyone who's felt this pain, who's lived this betrayal, who's experienced this loss, use it. Don't waste it sitting in bitterness. Don't just carry it like dead weight. Convert it into fuel, transform it into power. Let it birth the new you, the wiser you, the stronger you, the protected you, the you that can't be played again, the you that can't be fooled again, the you that sees clearly now. Because what's next is always better than what was, always, without exception. You just gotta survive the transition, the painful middle, the dark night. You gotta endure the painful middle, the transformation process, the death before the rebirth. You gotta trust the process even when the process is breaking you down to build you back up stronger, better, wiser. Every betrayal births you again. That's not just a saying. That's not just motivation. That's truth. That's reality. That's the hidden gift wrapped inside your greatest pain. The diamond hidden in the pressure, the gold hidden in the fire. Receive it, don't reject it, use it, don't waste it, become from it, don't just survive it. Real talk, you know what I'm saying? This is for everyone who ever got betrayed and got better, who used it as fuel, for everyone who ever got backstabbed and got stronger, who built armor from it. For everyone who ever lost somebody and gained themselves, who found themselves in the loss. That's the real victory, the true win. Not revenge, not getting back at them, not even getting apology or acknowledgement, but becoming so strong from what they did that their betrayal becomes the foundation of your greatest transformation, the bedrock of your evolution, the catalyst for your becoming. They wanted to break you. They tried to destroy you. Instead, they made you. They created something stronger. They tried to end you. They attempted to finish you. Instead, they elevated you. They launched you higher. They thought they were taking something from you. They believed they were stealing your power. Instead, they gave you the lesson that changed everything. The wisdom that transformed everything. The knowledge that elevated everything. That's That's power, real power. That's victory. True victory, that's resurrection, real resurrection. You ain't the same after betrayal. Can't be, won't be. You're different. You're evolved. You're transformed. You're the version they should have feared creating. The monster they made when they tried to kill you. The phoenix that rose from the ashes they created. And that's exactly who you needed to become. Who you were always meant to become. Who the universe needed you to become. Every betrayal births you again. That's the truth. That's the reality. That's the hidden blessing. Now go be born. Go be transformed. Go be elevated. You know what I'm saying? This is your resurrection. This is your rebirth. This is your transformation. Take it, claim it, become it. Real talk.
One friendship